Wallpaper. Real life stories. Story 1. We tried to get pregnant for 3 years. Tests, doctors, treatments, money, stress. We went through all of it. Every month I waited, and every month it hurt. My husband stayed strong and supported me, but I could see it was hard for him too. In the 4th year, it finally happened. 2 lines, then an ultrasound, then another one. I was over the moon. I called my mom. She started crying. I told my mother-in-law. She immediately started talking about names. And then she casually said, "Thank God Dima was already thinking about adoption." I said, "What?" She froze. Turns out my husband had been talking to a lawyer about adoption without telling me. And he told her, but not me. He didn't do anything wrong. He was looking for options. But for 3 years I thought we were carrying this together. We talked. He said he didn't want to upset me. I said, "It's my life too. I have the right to know." We made up. Now we have a daughter. She's 7 months old. But I never forgot that conversation. Story 2. I divorced my husband 2 years ago. We have a daughter. He used to take her for 2 to 3 days every week. Even though we split up, we stayed on good terms for her. He paid child support, bought her everything she needed, drove her to school and activities when needed. At least that's how it used to be. Until he got a girlfriend. She's 10 years younger than us, but she controls him like someone very experienced. At first it was small things. It became inconvenient for him to take our daughter on weekends, so he started taking her on weekdays. Then he stopped taking her to activities. If I call, he ignores it and replies the next day. Later, I realized he does that when he's with her. I asked him for money for winter clothes for our daughter. He said he'd send it. He didn't. Then he said he didn't have money and that I should at least buy something myself instead of asking him for everything. He also said things like, "It's time for me to start doing something and stop relying on his money." He never used to talk like that. Those aren't his words. I know his new girlfriend is putting this in his head. She whispers things about me, and he just listens. My daughter told me that now, when she's at his place, that woman is always there too. While my daughter sits watching cartoons, they stay in another room together. He can't even properly spend time with his own child anymore. He's only interested in this woman. I'm thinking about going to court and changing custody arrangements. If he doesn't want to be a father, then he can see her once a month. He'll have more time for his new relationship. Story 3. My sister and I were always close. We shared everything. When our mom got seriously sick, we took care of her together and supported each other. After she passed away, there was an inheritance, an apartment, and some money. In her will, everything was split equally. But suddenly my sister said the apartment should go to her. I took care of her more. You barely helped. I was shocked. We did everything together. Then she started pressuring me. "If you love me, you'll give it to me. You can rent a place. I have nowhere to go." I hesitated. I didn't want a fight. But then I remembered how our mom taught us about fairness. I refused. My sister got upset and stopped talking to me. We didn't speak for 6 months. Then she called and said she overreacted. We met and had an honest conversation. It turned out she was just scared of being alone. In the end, we decided to sell the apartment and split the money. Our relationship is slowly getting better, but that conflict taught me something. Even with family, you need boundaries. Story 4. My husband and I have been married for 8 years. Everything was normal. In January, he went to another city for a while because his mom got seriously sick. I stayed home with our dog. On the 3rd day, the dog started whining near the bedroom wall and scratching at the baseboard. I thought maybe it was a mouse. I moved the nightstand and found a phone behind it. An old one. I had never seen it before. I turned it on and it worked. There was only one conversation, 2 years long. I sat on the bedroom floor reading everything in tears. There was everything I miss you photos. When are you finally going to decide? I didn't call him. I just put the phone back, pushed the nightstand into place, and went to bed. He came back soon after, walked in all happy with flowers. I opened the door and said, "Don't forget the phone behind the nightstand." And I left to stay with a friend. He called me probably 100 times. I still don't answer. Story 5. My grandmother left me an apartment, not fancy, but mine, in a good area. I have a cousin we were never really close with. Suddenly she showed up. "Wow, you have your own place now? Let me stay with you until I find a job." I agreed, she's family. 1 month passed, then another. I started hinting that maybe it was time for her to move out, and she said, "You're not living alone, there's plenty of space." Then she started bringing friends over, hanging out until morning. I tried talking to her again, and she started crying. "So you don't support your family? Grandma would be disappointed." I was losing my mind. In the end, I told her directly, "You have 1 week to move out, or I'm calling the police. You're not legally living here." She packed and left, said a lot of nasty things on the way out, but now I know for sure boundaries matter, even with family. Story 6. I have a 20-year-old daughter, and she feels like a stranger to me. I don't even know how it happened. I worked, provided, made sure she had everything: clothes, food, education. I did everything right. But at some point, I realized I don't know what she loves, what scares her, what she dreams about. She's polite with me, comes over for holidays, replies to messages. I tried to talk to her. She listened, said, "Mom, everything's fine," and changed the subject. I went to a therapist. The therapist asked, "When was the last time you just sat with her and talked, not about tasks or responsibilities?" I tried to remember and couldn't, not once. I drove her to activities, checked her homework, bought everything she needed, but I never just sat next to her for no reason. I was always busy. Now she is. This isn't a complaint about my daughter. It's about me. I just realized it too late. Story 7. I found out I was pregnant at 30 and I was single. I hadn't been in a relationship for 2 years. It was just a random night with someone I barely knew. I didn't panic. I made the decision to keep the baby on my own without anyone's advice. I told my mom. She said, "I'll help." I didn't tell anyone else until it started to show. When I told people at work, they gave me those looks like single, no husband, sure. One woman from accounting asked me directly, "Is the father going to be involved?" I said no. She said, "Aren't you scared?" I said, "I am, but this is my child and I'll handle it." My daughter is a year and a half now. I manage, with my mom's help, with a regular job, with being exhausted every evening. It's not perfect, but I'm doing it. That same woman from accounting sometimes comes by to see my daughter and says how beautiful she is. I don't hold a grudge. I just smile. I have nothing left to prove to her. Story 8. A year ago, I wrote a book, not for publishing, just for myself. I had wanted to do it for a long time. I wrote at night for a year and a half. I gave it to my husband to read. He finished it in a week and said, "It's interesting." That was it. Then he turned on the TV. I put the manuscript in a drawer and didn't touch it again. A year later, I randomly mentioned the book to a friend, and she asked to read it. She read it in 3 days and texted me at 2 a.m. "I can't sleep. I can't put it down. Why aren't you publishing this?" I started crying right there, looking at my phone. Not from happiness, but because that manuscript sat in a drawer for a year, just because my husband said it's interesting. I sent it to 3 publishers. 2 rejected it. 1 accepted it. The book came out last year. My husband bought a copy and put it on the shelf. He didn't say anything. I don't wait for his words anymore. There are people who will hear you. You just have to find them. Story 10. A year ago, I quit my job where I had worked for 9 years. No new job lined up. I just left. Everyone thought I was crazy, crisis, instability. What are you doing? My husband supported me, even though I could see he was scared too. The first month I just rested, slept as long as I wanted, walked around, cooked. It felt strange and a little shameful to do nothing. Then I started thinking about what I actually wanted. Turns out I didn't know. For 9 years I knew who I was through my job, and without it I felt lost. I tried different things, courses, projects, freelance. Some didn't work, some I liked. After 8 months, I found a job. It pays less than before, but I go there in the morning without that heavy feeling in my chest. People ask me, don't you regret earning less? I say no, they don't believe me. But it's true. Sometimes you have to let go of what's familiar to find what's really yours. It's scary, yes, but it works. Story 0. This is hard to admit. I found out I was pregnant at the worst possible time. My boyfriend and I had only been dating for 3 months. I wasn't even sure about the relationship, and he clearly wasn't ready either. I told him. He paused and said, "It's your decision. I'll support whatever you choose." It sounded caring, but in reality it meant he was stepping away. I made my decision. He drove me to the clinic, waited in the car, drove me back, bought me some food, and went home. The next day he texted, "How are you?" I said, "I'm okay." He replied, "Okay." That was it. We broke up like nothing had happened. I'm 23 now and I don't regret my decision, but it still hurts that I had to go through it alone while he sat in the car watching YouTube. Sometimes I think being an adult isn't about age, it's about staying when things get hard. He didn't stay, and that tells me everything. Wallpaper. New stories twice a week. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing and share it with someone close to you.